right now. You're listening to the Scary Vibes podcast. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
My name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Episode 3, Season 2. Last week, we took it back to 2016 because that's like the trend right now, right? 2026, 2016. So after that episode, I told Big, I was like, we got to get back in the time machine. We got to go home. But I fucked up. We're in 1996 now. So today's episode, we're taking it back to 1996. We're going to talk about some movies from that year that we chose. We're going to talk about some maybe TV shows that we used to watch, some snacks maybe. But before we get into all of that, Big, how have you
Yes,
been?
sir. I've been okay, man. Honestly, I don't know. Just like weird stuff's been happening around the house. Lots of noises late at night. Lots of sleepless nights. I can't tell you exactly what's going on because I myself am not even sure. Uh, but it's got to be affecting me because I'm having a bad beard day right now, and
I think it looks amazing.
I appreciate you, man. But like, see this, it's just not cooperating, man. Like it's all growing in evenly, but the problem is that it's just like curling for what I'm like I'm in that awkward stage. And like for anybody who grows a beard, they know what I'm talking about. But like it's not cooperating with me right now. But it is like that full length. Anyways, yeah, so uh I don't know what exactly is going on right now, but there's been a whole lot of spiritual activity that's been happening late at night. It's kind of been keeping me up. Um, every time I like on the nights where I'm actually able to go to sleep, and that's like few and far in between because most nights I can't fall asleep until around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But once I do fall asleep, there's always something that like nudges me back awake.
I remember last episode you were talking about something like slapping your leg, not letting you sleep at night. Has it been a lot of the same, or has there been something else that's been happening?
Not really been like okay, so I haven't gotten the leg slap thing, but like something literally is bumping my bed. So, which is a little bit more unnerving to tell you the truth, because it's something
Yeah.
that can literally hit like the side of my bed with the force enough to like shake me awake. You know what I'm saying? And just the fact that it's something that's so annoying enough to where like it doesn't want me to sleep. It's I don't know, messes with it just messes with everyday life because
Yeah.
you need sleep in order to function, right?
No, definitely. And I mean, today's episode, usually when we're recording a lot later because I
Mhm.
know, like our schedules used to be so compact with like getting us to be able to record at the same time. But it's been kind of nice to have that flexibility lately
Mhm.
to be able to record earlier or different days. I was hoping that I would be like super alert. I was like, oh, bro, we're going to record an hour earlier. I'm going to be
Mhm.
bouncing off the walls. I was literally on the couch, like falling asleep.
Same here, bro. Literally just nodding off. I swear. I'm so lucky to be a big dude with big shoulders because, like, literally, these are my pillows.
I mean, the whole entire country, like America, United States, whatever, we're all just being slammed with cold. Like the whole entire nation is cold. I mean, I'm kind of glad everybody joined the party. For a while, it was just Siberia, just getting all the cold.
Hmm.
But I know over the weekend it was like in the negative like 35 at
Yes.
some point of the day. So I mean, I think we both were talking about it on Sunday. We just like fell asleep.
Hmm.
So I feel like the cold has to do with like us being kind of tired lately.
Yeah, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And then I mean the fact that it's like been dark too, right? It gets dark way earlier now, and it kind of just it messes with your whole system of doing things. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm still feeling it. I'll tell you that much. Still feeling a little groggy, better than I was yesterday because I know we were supposed to record yesterday, and I just couldn't do it, man. I was feeling all types of out of it, you know. And I apologize, especially for people that are like used to us releasing our episodes on like specific days and whatever. Normally, when we can't make it, it's usually because I have like energy overload and I'm just not feeling up to recording. And obviously, I don't want to be a zombie. You know, I know Mr. Scary Vibes doesn't want to be a zombie either, talking to you guys, because there's nothing worse than sitting here staring at people now, you know, with bags under their eyes and everything. I mean, but for the listeners, what's worse than listening to somebody who's like over here talking like Lurch, just has like no energy? You know,
And
it's absolutely horrible.
that's kind of the reason why we started the podcast is, we've been a part of the horror community, well, our whole lives, but we created Scary Vibes back in 2020. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember talking to you about, podcasts and, people talking. And a lot of the times it's just people that are very like, well, how was your day today, Jim? And then Jim would
Yeah.
be like, well, it was great. Let's read a passage from this week's episode, you know?
Yeah. So I remember when we were first talking about actually doing this, and you and me were having these conversations, these phone calls back and forth. And I had been listening to a few horror podcasts, and there were some where I couldn't even get through like the very first episode just because of the tone, right? And like there were people that were just like very monotone with it. They had like no personality, and it was like you were listening to a robot, something that had no emotion, you know? And then even when they were cracking jokes, the guys were just like, "That's funny, huh? Yeah, that's that's real
That's
funny. Yeah.
hilarious.
Hey, listen. So we went to go see this movie the other day, and it was actually pretty scary. Let me tell you the reasons why it's scary." And it's like, the hell? Like, what kind of snooze fest is that, man? Nobody wants to hear that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
At least I don't. I mean, the only stuff that I honestly really listen to is obviously there's a lot of celebrities that talk about like stuff that happened on movies. But I am a big fan of Mr. Nightmare. I don't know if you ever listen to him. He might be everywhere, but I listen to him on YouTube and he just tells like short stories.
is he the one that
But
reads like the creepy pastas? I think.
he might read some. But I remember there was one that he was like talking about. Um, Basically, people sent him stories. So there was this one story that stood out to me. It was about a teenager. He was working in a gas station overnight, and it was basically in the middle of nowhere, but there was a bunch of glass windows. And he was used to just this very boring shift with nobody ever stopping there because it was in the middle of nowhere. But I guess there was this one night that somebody pulled up and they're sitting in their car at the gas pump. So obviously he's watching him, trying to pay attention to him, but he's saying this guy sits there for like 30, 40 minutes without getting out of his car to ever pump gas. So, being a teenager, this like gets this kid really alert. And eventually he goes out there to kind of like get a better look.
Mhm.
And as he leaves his station to go out there, he gets a good look and there's actually nobody in the car. So
Whoa.
now that he left the gas station, it's like, did somebody come in behind?
Hmm.
And then when he goes back in, he ends up like hearing a noise in the back room. He goes back there and he just sees like this disfigured face.
Oh.
And that's kind of how the story ends. It really just kind of leaves you on a
Oh,
cliffhanger.
come on. You're killing me.
But
Bro, I was
there's tons of like short stories and the way he tells it, I'm a really big fan of it. Um, but yeah, Mr. Nightmare, I love him. But yeah,
dude, you totally hooked me, man. You hooked me right there, and I was waiting for this like huge climax. and then it just, gah, and then it ended.
Yeah.
Gah,
Like I
unbelievable.
remember listening to that story and the way he kind of dragged it out and the way he told it, it really got me engaged and made me want to like continue and listen.
Yeah,
So it's kind of, maybe somebody I look up to. I would love to eventually get into reading some creepy stories.
nice.
That'd be fun.
Might be something to get into.
Yes, sir.
So, 1996. So when you think about 1996, especially when it comes to like the horror genre, they had some pretty big name titles that came out that year, right?
Yeah.
So you had Scream, I believe you had The Craft. There's a few different titles that came out that year.
Let's see.
It
I'm
was a
gonna pull
big
up a
year for
list.
horror.
Yeah, we had Bad Moon, The Craft. We had Pinocchio's Revenge, which that movie's creepy.
That movie is super creepy.
Bro, Thinner.
Oh.
I love Thinner. I feel like even though that's not one of the movies that we picked,
Hmm.
Thinner was so good. The Gypsies.
I think that the reason why Thinner was such a great movie had to do for a mix of reasons, right? Because for one, as a bigger guy, I was like, dude, wouldn't it be great if like you could do that? If you could use that curse, like, I don't know, maybe for a week or two, and you slimmed up and you didn't have to do anything, and you could just eat whatever the hell you wanted, and then maybe you could stop it whenever you wanted, you know?
So
But
for our listeners, Thinner. It's written by Stephen King, the
Stephen
GOAT.
King,
And in this movie, I remember, yeah, there's a bigger guy. He's a family guy. The wife's like constantly trying to get him to slim down. She's like making him breakfast that are healthy.
what he does is he's an attorney and he ends up going to this award ceremony where he accepts this award and he's getting kind of lit, right? He's drinking, and then what ends up happening is he's driving home and he's a little tipsy, but what's really distracting him is that his wife thinks that it's a good time uh to do a little something something to him
Yo, yo, yo! It's always a good time.
while so yeah, so she decides to kind of lean over the driver's seat, if you know what I'm talking about. And so she's performing a specific act on this guy, and he takes his eyes off the road for a second and ends up hitting an old gypsy woman, and he ends up killing her. And because of that, the father of this older gypsy woman, which was kind of weird in itself, right? Because the woman herself was like 90 years old. And then you see this other guy, and you're like, well, if she's 90, how old is this guy? Because this is her father. But he ends up taking them to court, right? They take this guy to court, and he gets off because of his position, because of the fact that he is of a higher class. He gets off. And as he's exiting the court, the father of this old gypsy woman just walks up to him and just kind of brushes his face with his hand, and he just says thinner. So he hits him with that curse. And so basically day by day, like hour by hour, the guy is just losing weight. And at first he thinks everything is cool, right? I mean, wouldn't you? Like you okay, like your pants start to fit a little bit looser, your shirts, the neck and everything is getting a little bit looser, you can move around, you're walking better, you're breathing better. So I'm sure that there's benefits to it, but it keeps going on. He goes to the doctor. The doctors at first are like, hey, that's great, man. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. And the guy just kind of thinks, well, maybe it's just my metabolism. I was able to like, boost my metabolism. But then he starts noticing he's getting more and more skinny and he can't stop it. And so the rest of the movie is basically geared towards him trying to locate this like traveling gypsy family so that he can find the old man and he can get him to try to take this curse off of him. But it's like crazy because literally it's a race against time. And this guy
Yeah.
knows that if he can't get to this old man quick enough, he's eventually going to die, you know. But it was an absolute banger of a movie, man.
Yeah, I remember not really knowing about it and kind of just stumbling upon it like on AMC or something at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh.
You're like, bro, this is kind of a banger.
It's a really good movie.
I feel like when
Really.
old man said thinner, dude, you're good at doing voices. You could definitely say that better.
Oh yeah.
How did he
When he
say
does
it?
Dine.
He was like,
He had
"Amen."
this like huge he had this like huge what we call like a lunar, but it's like a huge mole on the side of his nose. Like, oh man. And the guy was super creepy, man. And he had that weird laugh that like sounded like he could barely breathe.
Have you ever had any
He,
run-ins with any gypsies?
not with any gypsies, but I did have a really weird it was a really weird experience with an older woman.
Okay.
I actually was at a grocery store. I like my brother asked me to take him to the grocery store some years ago, and I told him I was like, "You can go ahead, man. I'm tired. I just got off of work, and I'm just gonna sit in my truck." Right? So he's like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Just stay here in the parking lot and chill. I'll run in and I'll grab some stuff." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So he goes in. Now, mind you, it's broad daylight, right? It's a nice spring day, and I'm just sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm just like on my phone, just kind of scrolling. And I'm periodically looking up because I'm just that type of guy. I like to know what's going on in my surroundings. So I'm like checking the rear view, I'm checking everything, checking my peripherals, um, checking behind me, and I don't see anything, right? And then I go and I look down at my phone screen again, and then I hear this knock, which scares the hell out of me because I literally had just got done checking and there was nothing around me. And there's this little old lady at the driver's side window, right? And I'm like, what the hell? So it like really shook me up because I'm looking at this lady. I'm like, oh man, she's probably selling something, right?
Yeah.
So I roll down the window and I like ask her. I say, can I help you? And she's just staring at me. And it's just this really awkward moment where I'm just like, okay,
Maybe she was
are you
admiring
gonna?
your beauty.
Yeah, okay, man. If anything, she was probably thinking like, Jesus, this is a big guy, because she was tiny, dude. She like barely even saw over the damn seat, like the window. Um, but she's just staring at me, and I ask her, I'm like, "Are you okay? Do you need help with something?" And she like has this. It's like a shawl type thing, right? That like covers her whole head and everything. So she like reaches into the shawl, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm about to get robbed right now or something. And she pulls out a rose, dude. Like just a rose. And she just smiles at me and she like reaches over, like hands me this rose. And without even thinking about it, I grab the rose, right? And now,
Just
I mean, in hindsight, I should have been like, no,
you just like
because
roll the
anybody who
window
knows
up. You're
anything,
like
I'm sorry,
you're like you just start rolling the window up.
bro. Like, yeah, like I said, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have taken the rose, but like, I was just kind of dumbfounded. Like, it was so random, you know, and I just took the rose from her and I looked at her and she just gave me this smile and I just said thank you, and then she just walked away. And my brother, like a few minutes later, comes and he gets into the passenger side with some bags and he's like looking at me and I'm just sitting here staring at this rose that this old woman just gave me. And he's like, "What is that?" And I told him, I was like, "Dude, this old lady just gave me a rose." And he was like, "The hell? Like, why did she give you a rose?" I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea, dude. I was like on some weird Beauty and the Beast type shit. Like I didn't know if I was cursed at that point or whatever. And of course he brought it up. He was like, "Well, are you sure you should have grabbed it?" And I'm like, "Well, I already grabbed it. Like, what the hell can I do?" I didn't get any bad vibes off of her or anything like that. Obviously, if there were like bad vibes, I honestly would not have even rolled the window down. You know what I'm saying? As you know me, I go off, everything is off of vibes. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, come on, you have to admit that's weird, right?
Well,
That's
no, I'm
super
I'm
weird.
looking this up right now. Like, what is going on here?
What do you mean?
I'm looking
So
up
like
what
you're
happens if a gypsy just gives you a rose.
bro, I swear on everything. I mean, that was damn, dude, that had to be like probably about like 7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. You know? So I mean if something was supposed to happen, I don't think it did happen unless she like, I don't know, stole me winning the lottery or something.
I mean, the only thing
You
that's
know?
coming up online is usually they would like ask for money afterwards, but
Uh-huh. No, dude, she didn't ask for anything, bro. She just handed me this flower and then gave me a smile and then just walked away. I was like, okay.
that's
I mean, for
strange.
any of the listeners, right? Like for any of the listeners, if we have any pagans, if we have any, anybody who dabbles in magic or anything like that, if you guys can tell us what that might have been, I mean, because I don't even know if she was a regular person, if it was a spirit, I don't know. It didn't feel
It's definitely
different. Like I
strange.
said, I didn't feel any bad vibes or anything like that, but it was just I did feel weirded out because I was like, dude, this is just it's so random, you know? Never
That
saw the
is
woman
random,
before in my
though.
life, and the fact that she would walk up to me in my truck, big dude with a beard, you know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
just
there
feel
is.
compelled. What's
Wait,
up?
wait, wait, wait. I did find
Uh-oh.
this. On Korea, it says, "What if a witch gives you a rose as a gift?" Okay, let's see if there's something.
I was gonna say, bro, like, don't leave me hanging.
Well, I just brought it up. I gotta read it. Let's see.
I'm like, hold on a second, man. Like I'm in suspense over here. You know?
It just says usually a sign of infection. Uh, let's see. Religion. Let's see. Recognizing a person who practices magic, whether under a title like witch or other wizard, sorcerer, mage, is easier than it sounds.
Okay.
Okay, it was kind of like clickbait. I clicked on it. It sounded
Ah,
crazy, but what if it
boo.
wasn't a gypsy? What if it was a witch?
I mean, it very well could have been. She very well could have been a witch.
You know, I had two instances with maybe even three with
Okay.
gypsies. The first one was actually working at a job,
Mm-hmm.
and I had went out into the parking lot, and I remember this guy was like, "Hey, see the scratch on your car? I could get rid of it for like $20." He's like, "I have all the tools in my truck."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Nah, I'm good." But then somebody was like right next to me and they were like, "Okay, I'll do it." And then next thing you know, this guy's like working on it and like smoking a cigarette and doing his thing. And there's a bunch of white. He like I guess he just took a bar of soap and put white all over it. And he's like, "Okay, I fixed the scratch." He's like, "Just leave it alone for 24 hours and wash it off and everything will be fixed." And then I think the guy ended up coming back to me and telling me that he got scammed. I was like, "Did that end up working or whatever?" So there was that story.
Um, I mean, did you end up like giving him money for that, or
So it wasn't
like
me. I
what?
was in the parking lot at my job,
Oh, my bad.
and
I apologize.
it was just like somebody who came into my job,
Yeah.
and he ended up getting scammed by this person, and he kind of told me the aftermath that it was just a scam. But I remember
Got.
being like 18 years old, and
Okay.
just being like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Freaking gypsies."
Oh no,
Then the second
dude.
time, I used to live in this giant apartment building, and we used to share like a common area where we would do our clothes,
Uh huh.
and the gypsies stole all of my nice clothes. The
What,
gypsy
dude?
stole all my nice clothes.
I mean, I guess maybe they really needed your clothes, man.
No, I
You know,
remember like seeing like the kid like a week later wearing like my like shirt.
dude. How? Oh my god. How do you like? And it's like, how do you not react to that? How do you not like? How do you hold yourself from actually going off on this like kid and being like, "Yo, you little shit." Like that's my shit. That's
I
my
think I was like only in fourth or
shirt, my
fifth
hoodie.
grade. I remember my sister got this
Oh,
big income. I think my sister got this big income tax check, and she like took me shopping, and she got me like jerseys and hoodies and Adidas sweatpants and all this stuff.
uh,
And we did our laundry there. And when we pulled out all the laundry, just like the underwears and like white tees were there, but all the name brand stuff was gone. And then we had ended up
bro.
seeing this person wearing our stuff, and my mom, she like bugged out. I think she had went over there and was like
Uh huh.
cursing them out, but they didn't. They just act stupid. They're like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" You know?
Right. I mean, because in reality, how are you going to prove it, right?
Exactly. And then
That's
the third
nuts.
story is I actually had somebody working for me.
Yeah.
We'll call him Melvin, okay?
Hmm.
And Melvin, he is a known gypsy. He is a proud gypsy. He says there's only two gypsy families in Chicago, and
Okay.
he is from the worst of the worst, is what he said. And
Wait,
I was
he
like,
told you he's from the worst of the worst gypsy family?
yeah. And I was like, tell me some fucked up gypsy stuff. And he's like, well, when I was 10 years old, my mom's brother was supposed to help us move,
Uh
and we loaded up the truck, and he stole everything and the truck.
huh.
His
Wow,
uncle.
dude. And
I
that
was
was
like, bro,
his mother's brother.
yeah.
Dude, that's messed up. That's really messed up. Wow.
So those are my three gypsy stories.
Yo, so I actually okay, so I gave it a Google, right? I mean, but how accurate can the information be on Google? But it says a witch giving you a rose signifies a magical gesture rooted in intention, love, protection, or transformation. Depending on a color and context, it can represent deep affection, a blessing for healing, or a charmed item meant for love rituals.
Hmm.
Uh, it serves as a potent, energetic gift, acting as an amulet for the recipient, excuse me. Key interpretations of receiving a rose from a witch include magical intent. The rose is often used to bring specific energies into your life, such as joy, love, or protection. The color meaning of the rose. Red means intense love, passion, and desire, which she gave me a red rose. You think she was trying to seduce me?
Dude, I told you. She seen you scrolling. She saw how broad your shoulders were and how long your beard was and how luscious your hair is.
Oh,
And she was like,
oh,
she's like, she's like, come to mama.
bro, no. Okay, so moving on. Moving on. White means purification, healing, new beginnings, or spiritual guidance. Pink, gentle love, nurturing, and gratitude. Or black, used for protection, banishing, and transformation. Symbolic gestures. A single rose can represent you are the one or a secret admirer.
Wish somebody would give me a black rose.
I'm already right. I mean, I would have preferred a black rose.
Just
In
fucking banish
some,
me from whatever the fuck this is that we
I mean,
call life. Just
li-
banish me. Get me out of here.
listen,
Abort.
beam me up. Control Alt Delete on that ass.
Bro,
Okay, so
I
it
was thinking to
says
say the same exact thing. That's crazy.
what happened?
I was thinking the same exact thing. Alt
I'm
Control
saying.
Delete. Fuck
And
this.
okay, so it says in some tales, a witch's gift of a rose can be a magical blessing, such as a guaranteed smooth pregnancy or a powerful curse, depending on the nature of the witch and the situation. Yikes. Well, I think we can say that if she was trying to do something bad to me, it didn't really take because I mean I'm still here. Had some pretty messed up shit happen over the years, but nothing that I can say like I was actually cursed or anything like that, you know? But yeah, that's kind of odd that that would happen, but
Back to 1996.
back to 1996. That was a pretty crazy trip down memory lane. Talking about magical roses given to me by a witch.
You know what? I had mentioned it briefly to you, and this got triggered by I was having a conversation and they were talking about how they watched TV shows with their dad when they were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they had mentioned they were watching Three's Company. And then it got
Yeah.
me thinking, I had the same experience. I remember staying up late with my mom, watching like Nick at Night. We'd be
Mm-hmm.
watching I Love Lucy and the Brady Bunch
Okay.
and Roseanne, all those crazy shows. So they got me thinking, did you ever stay up late watching anything with your mom?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is that like I always knew that like we would watch Night Court late at night. I mean that to date myself honestly because that was like an older 80s like sitcom, late 80s early 90s. It was a comedic show about people that worked late night court, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then once that was done and like MASH came on, like once we heard the song, like the intro song for MASH, I was like, ah, damn it, because I knew it. Like, okay, now we had to go to bed because it was pretty late, you know. Um, but
It's funny you
yeah,
say that because it was like the same thing with me. I remember MASH coming on at midnight, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I'm just done with this. I'm ready for bed. And I would just turn it off. So it's kind of funny.
yeah.
I'm actually curious, any of our listeners or watchers, do you have a show that you used to stay up late with, maybe a parent or a grandparent or even like an older sibling that used to just stay up and watch like religiously before bed, like growing up? I'm just curious what everyone was watching.
Dude, you know what, man? The what's popping into my head right now is there was a show that we used to watch back in the day. It was like an anthology show. It was
Yeah.
horror based, and it was called Tales from the Dark Side. That might have
Okay.
been before your time. Do you know about that, dude?
No.
Tales from the Dark Side was, and now that I think about it, there were so many terrifying like different stories that they had, but the intro to this show, if we can find a way to actually like play it on here, it would be so dope. It was so creepy because it would start off with this like really slow like strange melody, and then there was this guy who would just like he's got this really deep voice, and the way he would say like the something about like how you're basically safe during the daytime,
Yeah.
and then he talks about but there's another side, a dark side, and like as he's narrating this shit, like at first you're seeing trees and like branches with green leaves like blowing in the wind and everything looks real safe, but then like as he's talking about the dark side, everything goes black, and like it just turns just nightmarish, and then it just says tales
Sounds
from the
creepy.
dark side, and then it plays this like really creepy sound as like those words tales from the dark side come up in red lettering, dude. And it's like giving me chills right now just thinking about it because even though I would watch this show, I was always terrified of the intro. have you ever had that happen to you before? Like, have you ever had some type of sound or like a song, something that just creeped you out?
No, but I do have a story. So this last summer, I actually took my daughter to the Science and Industry Museum, and they had this new exhibit, and it was all about sound.
Okay.
And as you go through it, it's whatever fun. Then there comes to a point where you get into this room, and the way they explain it is that different sounds do different things to different people.
Hmm.
And they would play like a so they had everybody put their hands on like a heart rate monitor. It was this thing that was able to track your heart rate. And first they started to play, you know, the sounds of the ocean, flowing in, and you could see everybody's heart rates were really like calm.
Hmm.
But then they started to play like thunder and creepy music, and the room was completely like LED, so all around you it looked like you were inside of a cemetery, and a lot of people's heart rates started to rise.
Hmm.
Not mine.
Bro, you're
I,
hardcore, man.
I was cool. I
Like
was cool as a cucumber. What can I say?
we've been said that, bro. That's the reason. That's why you're Mr. Scary Vibes, man. You're hardcore.
But when you were telling that story originally, like it got me thinking about some of the stuff that I used to stay up late watching, which I mean I'm
Hmm.
sure a lot of people have. But two of them that stick out in my mind were Tales from the Crypt. I remember staying up late watching that.
Okay.
But the one that would kind of keep me up at night and keep me thinking, unsolved mysteries, bro.
You know what, man? That intro was pretty creepy too.
That was creepy.
And then you had like creepy ass Robert Stack too, just like walking with his like Kermit the Frog trench coat and just like walking and there's like mist in the background and shit. Like, bro, that was actually pretty scary back in the day. And then you had him like always narrating some weird shit, talking about
And then
serial
and then there was
killers.
and then like halfway through the show, he would like walk into like a 911 call center, and he'd be
Yeah.
like, on October 27th, 74 people went missing, and I would
Yep.
just be just under the covers, scared. But I
He's just a
remember staying
creepy
up
guy,
late.
dude.
Yeah, I kind of when Netflix had brought back the new Unsolved Mysteries, it just didn't hit the same. I don't know if it was because of my age or just because they didn't have the goat. They didn't have the goat.
I mean, it might have had to do with the fact that they replaced, right? They didn't have Robert Stack, but they had Dennis Farina. And Dennis Farina was like, I mean, dude was straight up Chicago, right? But he was like Bridgeport, Chicago. So it's kind of different when you're like on the eve of October 27th and all this other crap. And then all of a sudden you got Dennis Farina and he's like, yeah, there was a bunch of people that went missing over here over the weekend. Like, that's super Chicago, dude. It just
Yeah,
kind of takes the whole mystique out of it. Like, if you or anybody else has any tips, call the number now. Like, the fuck? You
a
know what I'm saying?
Chimano. Yeah. Now I want some Freddy's Italian Ice.
Where the, dude, random. Where did that even come from?
That was
Bridgeport?
Bridgeport. Yeah, it's on 34th Street. I
Freddy's
love their
Italian Ice,
Italian
man.
Ice. I love Italian Ice.
But okay, so we've been trying to get back to 1996.
1996.
Yeah. So what movie do you have
Ooh.
from that time period,
Okay, so I'm Mr. Cliche. I'm that guy that
man? Hmm.
always plays it safe. You tell me to give you a movie from 2016, I'm going with The Conjuring.
Right.
When I think of 1996, I'm thinking Scream, right? Everybody loves Scream, but I did not play it safe. I
Okay.
went to the internet. I went to the internet and I went to best movies. I wanted to see what other people were thinking. I wanted to bring something different to the table. So I ended up finding a movie that I never seen before, so I don't have that nostalgia factor, but I'm gonna share it with you guys. Okay, so I ended up going with The Frighteners. Okay, from 1996 with Michael J. Fox.
Yes, sir.
And as soon as I put it on, so it's on Prime. You have to rent it. It's on sale right now. It's 99 cents.
Ha!
Okay.
Nice.
So the movie starts off, and you're thrown into this haunted house, and they're like being chased. And you could tell CGI is like new. This is like the first movie they've ever used it in.
Hmm.
The walls are coming alive. The carpets are like folding up and creating like shapes of demons. And eventually, it ends up like chasing it to the point where this old lady like pulls out a shotgun
Hmm.
and she just blasts it. And you're like, oh fuck, this movie is about to go crazy. So you're like, okay, I'm engaged, I'm locked in. So this is when you end up meeting Frank, which is played by, Michael J. Fox. And he has like this gift. Okay, so he was in a car accident and he has the ability to see the dead.
Okay.
Okay. And okay, if you had the ability to see the dead, what would you do?
Oh, um, probably lock myself up in an insane asylum. I'm just
so
saying what. I mean, I
so
do see spirits sometimes, but no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
so he ends up teaming up with three ghosts, okay? Steward,
Hmm.
Cyrus, and Judge.
The
Okay?
judge.
And they end up kind of just they have like a scheme, a Ponzi scheme where they start scamming people. The ghost will go into these people's house and they'll start messing with them. They'll start opening cabinets and slamming them, doing all the cliche stuff that you see in horror movies.
Hmm.
And at the end of it, they always drop this guy's card, and they're like, "Oh, well, let me call this ghost investigator over." So then he shows up, and he has like this whole spiel, and he pulls out like rubber gloves and like this like magnifying glass, and he's like looking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're being attacked by this, and this, and I could get all of this fixed for you for an easy price of $400." And then the family's like, "Oh my god, $400?" So this movie it kind of has like a Looney Tunes feel to it, right?
Okay.
Like the ghosts are very CGI, they're goofy, they're funny. But then it kind of gets a little dark. Okay, so then you end up meeting the Soul Collector,
Hmm.
Patrick Dent, and he's the collector of souls. And where Michael J. Fox, Frank, ends up getting, pulled into it. He starts seeing numbers on these people's heads.
Hmm.
And whenever he sees the numbers on their heads, that kind of signifies that the soul collector is about to collect this person's soul.
Like that
So,
one's going to be the next victim.
exactly. So, I don't want to give too much away about it, but that's kind of the gist of it. Have you seen this movie before?
Absolutely, dude. That movie is. I mean, I say this a lot, but it's one of my favorites. It has to be one of like the earlier horror comedy movies, right? Of like the '90s, because there are like certain scary aspects to it, but there are a lot of funny moments throughout that film. And the fact that like they thought that they were dealing with this entity that was like stealing people's souls, that was killing people, reaching into their chests and squeezing the heart, and then they find out that they're actually dealing with something else that's not quite as terrifying as a soul collector, but still just like as sinister, right? When they find out who it actually is that's like been doing the stuff. It's like it's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. It is very slapstick, like you said. It was kind of like Looney Tunes type, like humor. when it came to the different ghosts and whatever. And it was like the earlier days of like using CGI for like the ghost effects and stuff. But you got to admit, it was pretty cutting edge for back then. Obviously, we're in 2026 now. And looking at some of the CGI effects that they had back then is kind of hokey. And it does look really, really cartoony. But it's still a really, really fun watch, man. Even so many years later, it's awesome. They have a great cast of characters, a great rogues gallery. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch, man. I'm actually glad that you chose that movie. And when we wrap up, I'm probably gonna go looking for it.
So,
To be honest with
how I
you.
feel about this movie. Okay, so I don't have the nostalgia butterflies. So, I mean, obviously, if you're listening or watching this and you've seen it before, you already have your own opinion. But if you haven't, then you're going to kind of have probably the same opinion as me, or it could always be different. I'm kind of a rough on certain things. The only thing
Mhm.
that I was upset about was I had went online and I Googled horror movies, and I felt like this wasn't completely a horror movie. I am glad I seen it
Mhm.
because it threw me for a loop. That opening scene where they're being chased through this creepy old mansion and it ends with this shotgun scene.
Mhm.
It sets up for, oh, okay, this is going to be intense. But then it kind of turns into, it reminded me of Space Jam, the way the ghosts were like, making fun of each other or going inside the showers. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was fun. It's a feel good movie. And then the third thing is I had mentioned to you was it was just a bit too long. Like it was like at a certain
Yeah.
point they was just like dragged it out. Let me see if I could see. Maybe I'm just beating it up, but let's see how long this movie is. An hour and 50 minutes.
Okay. So
So
just shy of 2 hours.
yeah, so I would have liked it to probably at least be 30 minutes less.
Mhm.
But I guess nowadays attention spans are a thing of the past, so it's probably hard for me to stay engaged.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a fun movie, like you said. It's a feel good. There's funny slapstick stuff in it. Um, the great cast, they were good together.
I mean, it had to do with like a slasher too, right? It had to do with a killer. It had to do with ghosts. It had to do with spirits, and then you even had the Grim Reaper, right? You had the Soul Collector.
I was just
I guess
hoping
it
to
really
get
just depends
scared.
on. I guess it really just depends on your defining criteria as an individual.
Yeah,
Like me, I think I would put it. I would put it in the horror comedy, like section.
yeah. So what movie did you end up going with?
Dude, I ended up going with surprise, surprise, a werewolf movie because you know me, I am a big monster guy. I love monster movies. I love anything that has practical effects. And I chose Bad Moon. Bad Moon is in my opinion one of the absolute best werewolf movies, mainly because you have your cast of main characters. You have Mariel Hemingway who plays this mom. You have her brother, Uncle Ted, who's actually played by Michael Paré, and these two are veteran actors. And then you have Janet's young son, what's his name, Brett, right? And Brett is played by Mason Gamble. And for anybody who knows who Mason Gamble is, he was Dennis the Menace,
Bro, I
right?
was thinking that. I was like, this kid looks like Dennis the Menace, but I didn't want
Yeah,
to say anything.
dude. Yeah, so that was him. And this movie is so good, but it's because the main character that you don't really see coming is the family dog, right? So way before Good Boy even was a thing, you had Thor, and he's this big old German shepherd who's the protector of Janet and her son Brett, right? So what ends up happening is you've got this Uncle Ted who, he's got his own journey. He stays away most of the time. He goes on his own adventures. But unbeknownst to Janet, on his last adventure, he ends up coming in contact with a werewolf. And in this situation, he gets attacked and his girlfriend gets killed, like just torn to pieces right in front of him. But everybody knows. Go ahead.
That opening scene when they're just like out camping,
Uh huh.
and him and the girlfriend are just switching like positions like 5 or 6 different times while the
They're
whole
getting it
entire
in.
village is just being slaughtered
Uh huh.
by this dog. I
I
was
mean,
just like, I enjoyed it. But I was like,
dude,
bro, like they switched positions so many times. He was on top, and then she was on top, and I was like, bro, don't you hear the
what are
dogs
you doing?
outside? Don't you hear the dogs outside ripping people apart?
Right. Hey, man, they were preoccupied, man. They were getting it in. It's kind
They
of
were
hard to
locked in.
focus. It's kind of hard to focus on that when they're focusing on this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just like Mr. Scary Vibes said, man, they're getting it on, and this freaking werewolf just comes up behind them and just starts attacking the girlfriend. And Uncle Ted tries to help her, but he ends up getting bit by the werewolf. And everybody knows what happens when you get bit by a werewolf. You are now cursed to become a werewolf. So he ends up coming back to the States because I believe that happened in Nepal. So they come back to the States, and he reaches out to his sister, and he's like, "Can I come stay with you?" Right? So Uncle Ted's one of those guys that lives in like a trailer in an Airstream, and she's like, "Yeah, you can park your Airstream behind my house. That's fine." Right? And so right as soon as they do that, everything's cool. Janet's happy. Brett's happy. His uncle is right behind the house. He comes in every day. They have breakfast. Everything is cool. But then they start to notice that like Thor starts to act really aggressive towards Uncle Ted, right? And Uncle Ted has some very weird things that he does. At night, he goes for runs in the woods, right? Because I believe this is
Who
in
goes for
Washington. So
runs? That is
who goes
gross.
but who goes for runs in the woods at night? Especially
Serial
when it's, in
killers.
those tall, huge pine trees, like massive trees, and then he just kind of gets lost out there. Well, Thor follows Uncle Ted one time, when he runs out into the woods, he starts hearing these noises, and he finds a full grown werewolf chained to a huge tree. So it turns out that that's Uncle Ted, and Uncle Ted is trying to keep himself chained up when he knows that like it's about to be a full moon or he's about to turn. Because I believe the whole thing is like the whole mythos. He tells Brett, why is it that the werewolf only changes on the full moon? Why not any moon? And I remember Brett looks over at his uncle and he's like, don't you know anything about werewolves? Because, little kids, they just think that they know everything about everything. But I love this movie because it is a story where Uncle Ted is slowly becoming more and more aggressive as the wolf inside of him is taking over. And then
Yeah.
you have Thor, who's this character who can't use his words, but he's growling at Uncle Ted. He's barking at him. He's getting more aggressive towards him because he kind of feels this impending danger, right? He knows that Ted eventually is going to try to hurt his family. And so it comes down to an absolute slobber knocker between Uncle Ted when he goes full werewolf and Thor the family dog. I mean, dude, you got to give it up to these people because first off, the CGI for like the practical effects when it came to the werewolf were pretty damn good, right? And I always choose practical effects over CGI every single time, right? But just the charisma, man, that this dog had, the performance that he put on, and then the fight scenes that they did, yeah, you could tell it was kind of like it was like a fake dog at certain scenes, but the scenes where they had the actual like German Shepherd going and like biting this werewolf and stuff, that was all very real, man. And I gotta say, I really, really appreciated this movie because Thor, he was the good boy before good boy. Know what I'm saying? It was a
Man,
great,
as soon
great
as the
movie.
movie came on and they
Mm-hmm.
showed Thor, I had anxiety. I was like, "Oh fuck, the dog is gonna get killed. I don't want to watch this. This is gonna be too hard to watch." But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he was like the man of the house. He had to protect, the mom and the son. And what I really liked about this movie, which I'm not gonna give away, because I actually really liked this movie. I
Mm-hmm.
loved the way it looked too, the colors, like compared, like because I had watched the Frighteners and then I had watched this the next night,
Yeah.
and the Frighteners, something about the colors, they felt super dull,
Uh-huh.
and this movie was very vibrant. Like it was like there was beautiful greens and blues, and they were out in the woods,
Uh-huh.
and it was way more appealing to me, and it was easier
Okay.
to watch. It kept me engaged. But one thing that I liked about it, without giving much away, is there's a fight scene at the end, and when they took it into the house. I've never seen a werewolf just come in and just be like, "We're about to fight." It was epic. It was epic. I was like, "What?" Because usually when you watch a werewolf movie, at least when I'm thinking about it, like it always happens out in the woods. They're being chased.
Yeah, it's always outdoors.
But when he busted inside, there was an epic battle, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this movie that you recommended, and I
Mm-hmm.
recommend it to everybody. It's a great one.
Right. And obviously it came out in 1996. So I can't think of too many people that haven't seen this movie. But if you haven't, for any of the listeners or any of the viewers that are watching this right now, guys, if you have not seen this movie, it is on Tubi. It's for free, man. You guys can watch it. It's awesome. And then, go ahead and check it out. Check out the movies that we watch. If you like them, drop us a line. Let us know what you think about them. If you liked them, let us know. If you didn't like them, let us know. Let us know your reasons why. That's what I love
Oh,
about
exactly.
being able to do this kind of stuff.
No, exactly. I'm curious. Horror movies from 1996. What are some of your favorites? TV shows, even
Mm-hmm.
episodes. I would love for you to be like, Mike, Abraham, I love, Unsolved Mysteries, episode 5, season 2. We will go and watch it and we will report back.
Or
You
even like
know,
Tales from the Crypt or something. What's something that you
yeah,
think that we have not even heard about? That's
that
what
would be
I'm really
crazy too.
curious to know about. And again, any type of like paranormal experiences that you guys have, reach out to us. We're actually looking to bring guests on to share their, spooky, scary stories, creepy stories, anything having to do with, even if it's true crime, if it's something that ended
Yep,
up happening to you, something that was a really, really scary experience, and it doesn't even need to be paranormal, right? It could just be real life. I've had real scary things happen to me that had nothing to do with spirits, that had nothing to do with, you know, things going bump in the night, that had to do with very real threats in terms of physical threats like people.
exactly.
So I mean, I'd be very curious to listen to those too.
Yeah, earlier I know we had, touched on that story where, you were gifted the rose. We don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it was a gypsy or a witch. Yo, if you're a gypsy or a witch, we love you. We
No
appreciate you
shade.
listening. We
No shade.
appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. If you have some crazy gypsy stories or some crazy witchy stories,
Mm-hmm.
bro, hit
And
us up.
dude. I'm friends with a lot of witches actually. You can't be in the
I pissed
spiritual
off a
community. Can't be in the spiritual community and not be, rub elbows with some witches, warlocks, whatever you want to call them. Spiritual practitioners.
I pissed off a
What you
witch
say?
once, and I pissed off a witch once, and she almost took both of my legs.
Wait. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I think. Do I know who you're talking about?
Do not piss off any witches, okay?
That's all
Be
we're gonna
nice to
say.
be nice to the witches.
Be nice to the
Witches,
witches.
They could be your friends.
Oh no, be nice to the witches. It's so
You
funny
know,
if like if this witch actually hears it and it's just like, yeah, yeah, that was me.
I well, I wasn't a bully. I wasn't a bully. I just told them like it was. And some people can't
Mm.
handle the truth.
Yeah, there is that.
The truth, yeah.
There is that
But
definitely.
okay, before this episode ends, I had seen something fun, and I was like, you know what? 1996. When you think about 1996, you think about the 90s. You think about Nickelodeon. You think of shows like All That. You Afraid of the Dark, Keenan and Kel.
Yeah.
And then you know what pops up on my news feed?
What's that?
Keenan and Kel meet Frankenstein. There's a movie coming out. There's a movie in the works where Keenan and Kel are going to meet Frankenstein. So I am kind of
What?
excited.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's actually crazy. What a throwback. Keenan and Kel from the
exactly.
whole all that.
I know.
That's interesting, man. I'm interested to see how that works out.
I
I would
wonder if
definitely
he's
watch.
going to. We're going to have to get some 2 liters of orange soda and go to the movie theaters.
I am down. I am so down. Let's do it.
While
Let's
we're
do it,
there.
man.
Who's coming with us? Is anybody from Chicago? Hit us up. We'll go to the movies, watch Keenan and Kel, drink some orange soda.
Hell yeah. Let's set up an event, man. That'd be awesome. That'd be such a good time.
Well, I think this is going to be an episode. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.